Good day and welcome to SCO BRICS Insight, where we look at the latest news, information and analysis about what's really going on in Russia and the BRICS. Now today I want to talk about artificial intelligence and nuclear energy. Now the new world of the introduction and widespread use of AI, with its huge energy consumption appetite, has brought the focus of the world again onto nuclear energy, because it's an obvious fact that the so-called green energy, including solar panels, wind farms, the so-called renewables and seriously unreliables, are never going to be able to power this new technology revolution. Now let's look at the one country in the world that's been at the forefront of nuclear energy production for more than 3/4 of a century and dominates the nuclear energy landscape worldwide. And it's Russia. And last week it celebrated the 80th anniversary of the Russian nuclear industry. Now, the Soviet nuclear program was established in response to the threat posed by the start of the Cold War, just after World War II. I mean, the first atomic bomb the Americans created, and the Russians followed suit 4 years later, ensuring the reliable nuclear parity that basically guaranteed the country's security during the most critical periods of the Cold War, and continues today to serve as a powerful deterrent. Now, the Russian general public is more or less aware of the military aspects of the ongoing nuclear standoff with the West, and is understandably proud that Russia can stand up for itself, and Russia's nuclear deterrent forces, including the most advanced, powerful and numerous weapons in the world, which most of the enemies don't have any answer to, not a single one. Now, it's important to note that the Russians' leadership in the field of peaceful nuclear energy in the long term, if not a more important factor for national security than our Iskander missiles and the other types of hypersonics, then at least it's significant. I mean, back in the late 1940s, despite its continued status as a predominantly agricultural nation, the Soviet Union established itself as a global leader in the field of nuclear energy. I mean, the first nuclear power plant to actually generate electricity for a power grid was the Obninsk nuclear power plant in the Soviet Union, launched on June the 27th, 1954. It produced around 5 megawatts of electricity, and Soviet scientists also created the first nuclear particle accelerator and built the first nuclear-powered icebreaker. Russia is also pioneers in the field of nuclear medicine, quantum technologies, small modular nuclear reactors and other nuclear-related areas. Now, Russia's competitors, for example, have expressed concern that Russia's also created the world's first floating nuclear power plant equipped with domestic small modular reactors. In fact, Russia's leadership in the breakthrough of nuclear technology, specifically the development of fast neutron reactors, has been a significant factor in generating intense levels of envy. Now, these technological advancements have paved the way for the production of virtually waste-free nuclear energy, a feat that's actually garnered worldwide recognition. Now, before I continue, I'd like to make an appeal. If you like and enjoy my videos, you can help me fund the channel and contribute to its further development. You can do this by making a small donation, which you can do by clicking on the thanks button at the bottom of the video screen, or by clicking on the Buy Me a Coffee link below in the credits. Everyone who donates does get a personal thank you from me, and do keep the comments coming. Love to read them, love to respond to them. Now, development that's also been widely welcomed by supporters of gender diversity in the West, so they're now cheating the fact that the first captain of a nuclear vessel, in this case it's an icebreaker, is a Russian woman, Marina Starovoitova. However, the Russian nuclear giant Rosatom is also dedicated to ensuring that the Russian nuclear program is always at the forefront of new developments and the latest technology. Now, it's also important to note, as of the beginning of 2025, Rosatom is implementing projects around the world worth approximately $200 billion. I mean, Rosatom is widely regarded as the global leader in the nuclear energy sector worldwide, and is responsible for the construction and operation of nuclear plants all around the world. I mean, the company's international presence is extensive, with projects in countries including China, India, Bangladesh, Turkey, Hungary and Egypt. It also provides a wide range of services, including the construction, product supply and other forms of cooperation, And Rosatom actually has a presence in 57 countries around the world. I mean, its global activities will cover such areas as the floating nuclear power plant I mentioned, which generates electricity for the remote regions like PEVEC, and specialist projects like the Nuclear Research and Technology Centre in Bolivia. I mean, even the US is dependent on Rosatom's enriched uranium for 34% of its supplies for its nuclear plants. I mean, domestic nuclear plants in Russia provide around 20% of its total energy consumption, and that figure is going to rise to around 25% in the near future. That's because there's a number of small modular reactors are being built, and they're going to be supplied to the remote areas of Siberia, and it's notable that almost every 10th nuclear power unit in the world is of Russian origin. Russia is the world's first and leading exclusive supplier of full-cycle nuclear plants encompassing uranium enrichment, fuel supplies, the construction of the nuclear power plant, plus all the personnel training. Now, according to Western analysts, more than 75% of the world's nuclear programs are reliant on Russian technology and nuclear fuel. Now, in the short term, economic gain is beneficial, but more importantly for Russia, it's strengthening its global influence daily thanks to the deepening and expanding international cooperation in the nuclear sector. Indeed, the same controversial soft power strategy, but with a nuclear dimension. Now, this nuclear diplomacy is a source of concern for its geopolitical rivals, as it has a potential to influence their strategic interest. For instance, Russia continues to be the primary supplier, as I mentioned, for nuclear power plants in the US, and they account for about 30% of all the requirements. And Russia also holds a dominant share of at least 40% in the uranium enrichment market. Now, in the event of bypassing and outpacing Russia becomes unfeasible, the absence of alternative options, Russia's strategic competitors are now beginning to accuse it of nuclear blackmail, the misuse of its nuclear cooperation system, and the violation of the non-proliferation regime. It keeps going on. It's the same complaints again and again. And there's also been calls for Russia to be accountable for its actions undermining the Western nuclear order and contributing to a state of permanent and legal moral erosion. Now, the US Centre for Naval Analysis reported in 2024 the implications of Russia's actions in the global nuclear actor shows that what Moscow's geopolitical goals are. Translation, there's no prospect of us catching up with Russia, which is extremely unfortunate. Now, it's problematic for the West, primarily because the future global wars are going to be heavily reliant on the substantial energy that only nuclear technology can provide. Now, during his recent speech at the Milken Institute Global Conference, former Google CEO Eric Schmidt stated that the future wars will be fought over the internet using millions of drones controlled by artificial intelligence. Now, this view is shared by many military analysts who argue that the traditional paradigm of man with gun against man with gun that's existed for millennia is gone forever. Simultaneously, the management of a multitude of drones will necessitate substantial data storage facilities, which in turn will demand considerable energy resources, particularly in a mobile context. Western analysts and military officials are expressing serious concern that states capable of quickly deploying mobile nuclear installations will gain a fundamental advantage and a head start in the next generation of AI drone wars. Concurrently, energy will become a pivotal resource and nuclear technology will be instrumental in ensuring uninterrupted power supply for the future energy-hungry military platforms. Now, it's clear that the energy sector, which has been considered peaceful up till now, will become a main battlefield for now. It's the most important factor in strategic dominance. In that area, Russia's created a gap that's practically impossible for others to overcome in the foreseeable future. That is, the nuclear energy war of the future's already ended before it began. On this occasion, the nuclear industry's anniversary, the Russian Prime Minister, Mikhail Mishustin, rightly observed that Russia maintains its leading global position in uranium mining for the next foreseeable future, plus in the construction of nuclear power plants. So Russia's there, AI, nuclear. Thanks for watching. Please like, subscribe, set the alerts so you get notified when I post a new video. And if you want to help me out, click on the thanks button and make a donation, or click on the buy me a coffee link below in the credits. Thank you.